Welcome back to Maths Experience Exam class. So today we'll be looking at the if function. If let's just zoom in into our data. So we have our data containing the names and their average score after a promotional examination. So the standard of the company says to move on to the next level, you need to pass with a minimum of 70 marks. So right now, instead of doing 87, okay, pass. Say pass. 84, pass. No, 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 no. That is. I'm going to be showing us how to use what we call an if function. I'm going to name this. Let me call this remarks. Remarks. Then we're going to put an if function. An if function is a logical statement that tells us if we have A, then it is the first letter of the alphabet. But if it is not A, it is not the first letter of the alphabet. That is the way the if works. It it argues a logic and gives us a response. So we use our insert function, insert, and we use if. It's one of the most recent functions I use a lot. And you can see most of my use functions, but you can see search for a function here, if. And then of course it tells you all the ifs that are possible, if there's an error, if. But we are going to use the basic if function. So it says if, what is the logical test? What is asking us, what is the logic we are trying to affirm? So we want to affirm that if the average of the students or of the staff, if the average is greater than or equal to 70. If that is true, then the person passed, or we can say promoted. But if it is false, then the person failed or fail. And I will say okay. So what it tells us as for this, our Sergeant Papi, we can zoom this so we can see a little better. As for this, our Sergeant Papi, its average is 87, therefore passed. So we can drag this down to all the staff, and then we can see that it does the same. 84 pass, 75 pass, but for those from 69.67, because they failed the logic argument that their scores have to be above, has to be 70 and above. So since they failed that argument, then it gives us fail. So this is a basic way of using the if function. Okay, so now that was the basic way of using the if function. In the previous way, we had just two options, pass and fail. But what if we wanted to do more options? We had more responses, more possibilities. How do we now write such an if function? So I set up the conventional A to F educational grading system. This gives us six possible options based on the average score of the staff. And also sets up another possible option, possible response based on the department of each of the staff. Where would they go for vacation? So after being promoted, um, each promoted staff gets to go for a vacation, maybe an all paid vacation based on their department. And so maths and logic chose to go to Kenya, medicals, the UK, down to IT that chose to go to India. Now, let's do the first if function based on the conventional grading system. So we come back to our if. Of course, we recall that every formula starts with the equal to sign. So we say if we open our parentheses. So what's the logical test? We are saying if the average score is greater than or equal to. Now we see the argument here from 70 to 100 is A. So if it is greater than or equal to 70, put our comma, you can see the logical test is bold. When we put our comma, it moves to the next logic, who says, if that is true, what do we give as a response? So we say, give the response A, put our comma, and we say, if it is false. Now, if this is false, we still have five more other options. So, what exactly do we say here? Now, it's no longer the case of fail or pass, it's now a case of B, C, D, E, or F based on a different logic. So we will write another logic for the false segment. We will write another logic. Now we say if that was A, if that was 70 and above, A, but if it wasn't 70 and above, and if, so we write again, if if we open our parentheses, so you see it gives us the option to put another logical test. So we say if the same average now was between 60 to 69, we say if that was from greater than or equal to 60, now give us the response B. Let's move out to our formula bar. I think that's better to write here because of the kind of space it gives us. Let's just drag this down a little. So now we say if it's now from 60 to 69, give us B. It moves to false. So we see we repeat it until we insert all the responses. We go if again, if that range is from 50, give us C. If the same range is from 40 to 49, that is from 40, give us D. If the same range if the same average, so you see it's telling us we didn't put our parentheses. So if the same average is from, okay, I think that was meant to be 45, so we'll correct that later. 40, give us E. And lastly, if was from 0, or if it was less than 39, less than or equal to 39, give us F. Now I want to close this argument, but I've inserted so many logics In fact, I inserted one for the F, E, D, C, B. And so that is six different logic. So I need to insert six closing parentheses, brackets. So I need to put one, two, three, four, five, six. So I can close all the logic statement, the conditions I had asked the if function to check for me. I put my enter and then I have A. So I can just double click this and on going down, you see it scored every of the staff based on the conventional educational grading system. So if I want to just, let's assume I want to change this, I want to change this from 64.67 to 20. So you see, it changes from B to F. If I want to change this to 40, it changes from B to D. So all what it's saying is that this particular score falls within the range of 40 to 45. So the person has a D. So other than, let me just undo that. Undo, undo. Okay. So other than having just pass and fail, I can have multiple desired responses. So with that, I can also have to, I can also meet such conditions with my if function. So let's create the last one. What if I want to tell them what particular location will be for their vacation? So the same thing, I start with my equal to sign. Say if I'm going to just pan back, if the department, so I'm using the formula bar now, if open bracket, if the department, okay, is exactly, that's what the apostrophe mean, exactly maths and logic. If that is it, then where are they going to? They are going to Kenya. So give me exactly Kenya. Okay. Now, if it's not maths and logic, I have to add a new if function. So if open parenthesis, if that department is exactly medicals. So where is medicals going to? Medicals are going to the UK. So I can do all that and then see where everybody goes to. Okay, so I've filled all my if logical tests. I've said if it is math and logic, Kenya; if it is medicals, UK; if it is HR, give me United States; if it is engineering, go to Canada; if they're in nutrition, go to Nigeria; if they're in psychohistory, go to Australia; and if in IT, go to India. So I've added all my parentheses to close those logicals and then enter. So it says Papi, maths and logic is going to Kenya. I'll just drag this or double click and then it has splitted everybody. And one thing about working with tables is that as you create new columns, it adds the filter. So I'm just going to rename this with, let me call this um, vacation, more like vacation destination. So now with my remarks, I have only two remarks: either you pass or you fail. I don't want to see the failures, so I only want to see those who passed. And so it trims out all the failures, all those who had failed. Um, okay, so I want to see all those who passed, and will be going to Canada. So I have just three of my staff going to Canada. If I want those who go to Canada and the US, so I have just one, two, three, four, five, six of my staff going to the Canada and the US. So this is how you can use the if function for basically any logical arguments you want to make on the Excel. So if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and then we'll see in the next class.